Hey everybody, welcome to our first Equip via virtual video. And as you can see, I'm in my home office and just wanted to really kind of address what's happening now. I do want to say, like I said, I'm here in my home office and I have family that's in town. So if you hear a noise, that's probably what it is. But I think we could all say that what's going on right now is nothing we ever expected. We have been dispersed. We've been quarantined. Some of you have gone home. Some of you may still be in a dorm. Those of us that are on staff, we are working from home, and everything just looks different. Some of you may be feeling overwhelmed, isolated, scared, and your community looks different. And so, as you've already seen, we're doing everything virtually. And right now, as I reflect back on what we've been studying in our series of Acts, just to remind you, we've been calling our series Ordinary, Empowered, and Called. We're ordinary people, empowered by the Spirit, called to our campus. And our hope literally is this, has been that we would recognize that God has placed us where He's placed us for a reason. And oftentimes we feel inequipped, or like we're not good enough to share the gospel with other people. And so as we've been looking at the book of Acts, we see how God has used ordinary people to literally go to all of these places, and through the power of the Spirit, we see lives being changed. And so I just kind of want to take that and shift it just a little bit. So we are still ordinary people empowered by the Spirit, but where we're called might look a little different right now. So what we're seeing is that some of us have been sent back home, and so maybe we're called to our family and our friends that way. Some of us, like I said, we're still working and living in other areas. And so what I really want to do is to talk to us to say, okay, what does it look like to share the gospel and to be examples of someone who's following Christ in today's current circumstances? And one of the things that I learned through my ministry with the UNT athletes is something that I call proximity, presence, and patience. And so what I want to do is just kind of walk you through what I've learned and to give you some perspective on what this could look like for you now. And we want to, through Equip, is to not only give you some understandings of apologetics, but how do we practically apply this? And so I think this idea of proximity, presence, and patience is really, really helpful. So first, let's talk about proximity. And typically when I'm talking about proximity, I say that means we have to go to where other people are. And right now, I feel like we've already gone. So some of us, we are all over the state, some maybe over the country. And so this idea of go really comes from Matthew 28:19. So that great commission where the Bible tells us, go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. So that first step in helping someone grow as a disciple of Jesus is to go. So this idea is us actively going to where others are and engaging them with the gospel. And so for us, what does it look like in our current season, in our current place, for us to be in proximity of those who need Jesus? And I think it's really helpful for us to define that term, proximity. And what it means is it means closeness. It means literally being close to others. And right now, that can feel hard. We've been told to keep 6 feet social distance between us and someone else. And so this closeness might have to happen just like what we're doing right now, over technology. Maybe it's that proximity of your friends that you're living with, your roommates or your family. And so what I want to challenge you to think through is, like, what does it look like for you to be close, to be in proximity with other people? Next is this idea of presence. In Ephesians 5:15 and 16, it says, look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise but as wise, making the best use of the time, because the days are evil. And so what I want to talk to you about with presence is this idea of intentionality. And that means, just like what I just read, making the most of every opportunity. This idea of intentionality. So we must not only figure out what does proximity look like, either personally or virtually, we have to figure out what does it look like for me to intentionally be present. And so we have to make that decision to invest. And then we have to decide, not only am I going to invest, I have to invest well. And so what does it look like for us to not only love our friends and our family well, but then to be able to say, okay, I want them to get to hear about Jesus. And right now is a great opportunity because there are so many unknowns. We don't know how long we're going to be quarantined. We don't know how everybody is feeling when it comes to fear, isolation. We get to talk to them about hope. I just recently, some of you may know my brother passed away a couple weeks ago. And a week ago yesterday, I had the opportunity to speak at his funeral service. And I centered in on hope. How in the midst of pain, in the midst of really this coronavirus, we can only have 10 people at his service. And in the pain and the grief that my family is still feeling today, I've had to really dive in and say my hope only comes from Jesus. And I want other people to know that. And I feel like I have a unique opportunity because of what I'm walking through to really get to share. And I think not only does my family circumstance provide those opportunities, but I think when our society is walking through something that none of us have ever done, this gives us an opportunity to share where our hope comes from. And we can do that through intentionally being present and investing really well. And then lastly, I want to talk to you about patience. In 1 Corinthians 13:4, it says that love is patient and kind. And so when I think and say the word patience, what I mean is that love is patient. Building trust takes time. And for us to be patient, it means that as we're investing, we keep showing up. And that we are waiting and trusting that the Lord is going to move through the Holy Spirit. You know this, young people, your generation often struggle to trust others, including Christians. And so we have to be patient and allow the time that is needed for not only those relationships to form and to deepen, maybe to give them some time to process through what's happening, but also just to trust that the Holy Spirit is moving and working. We can do those first two things by ourselves. We can be in proximity and we can be very, very present. But this patience reveals how we have to rely on the Lord. And this is where that in our series, ordinary people who are within proximity and who are being intentionally present have to be empowered by the Spirit. So we are patiently serving alongside the Spirit because we want those around us to know Jesus. And so our hope from this quick video for Equip is to get you to think through, what's your proximity? What does it look like for you to go and to be close to someone who might need Jesus? Whether that be where you are. We're not asking you to leave quarantine or to leave your home, but virtually, what could that look like? What does it look like for you to be intentionally present and to invest really, really well? And that next, to be someone who is patiently trusting the Spirit to not only empower you as you are having those conversations, but to be moving and working within the lives of those that you're investing in. And so friends, we've done Oikos maps with you where you've sat down and you've drawn out who are the people in your life that you would love to invest in, maybe disciple, or have a gospel conversation with. And so we have some different resources on our website that can be helpful. One talks about gospel appointments. What does that look like and how do we have those conversations? Another thing that we're going to provide for you is just a podcast that I've done with a former student. And we're going to walk through what does it look like to be in proximity with someone, to be really present, but to also be patient and to trust the Lord is working. And so I want to challenge you, draw out your Oikos maps. Look at some of the other resources that we can make available to you. And let's be really present. And let's dive into this season of unknownness. And let's watch and work alongside of the Spirit to see what we can do. For those in our lives to get to hear the gospel. For some it may be for the 30th time. For others it may be for the first time. But us trusting that the Spirit is moving and working even through a season of pandemic of the coronavirus. And so friends, we love you. let us know how else we can help you and walk with you. We're going to start putting out resources this week just to continue to be really present in your lives. And so we need your help for you to let us know what it is that you need. Thanks.